What also was fun was watching the Mets lose in the way that they did last night.
How was that fun?
Oh, it was great.
No, it's
I have
terrible.
totally turned on this team, and that was awesome.
I know you have.
And every one of these fans was saying, you're being too negative, and I hope they show you up, and I hope they make the playoffs and shut you up. I hope you drank every last bit of that loss last night and gargled it.
You know, but really sucks about it, though, is... Like, they've had chances. Like, everybody that's been on it, there's no all these teams and blah, blah, blah. They've had opportunities.
Oh, it's great.
And last night is one of the most disgusting losses. There's so much.
Couldn't
and I
draw
know
it
no
up
one
any better.
cares. I get it at this point.
Could not draw it up any better.
Good Lord.
And another thing I love is the Met fan who has been hanging on to hope keeps talking about, but everybody else around them is losing. And the great part about this is,
so are they.
The team that's not losing, that's ahead of them, is the team they're playing because they're beating the Mets. So give up already.
It is true.
And tell me, Jerry, please, because you are a big baseball fan. You are raising two boys who love baseball. Maybe love playing it. At least Joseph loves playing it more than watching it, as you've told me.
Right.
But still loves the game. Take me into the mind of the sucker Met fan who actually claps for Javi Baez long enough to give him a curtain call last night. Take me into the mind of that sucker.
Well, I can't, but I will tell you, I think that there is that thought out there now. Resign him.
No.
I really do. I think there's a good portion of the Met fans, I could be wrong about this, that's his 9th home run of the year last year with the Mets. He's got 31 on the season, and you see when the guy's motivated, he can play. I mean, he can. I know he's a strikeout machine, but he can hit the ball. I mean,
Did you notice his curtain call too? By the way, so a curtain call.
Well,
explain to me what a curtain call is. Is for what?
Usually, just to say hello to the fans.
Acknowledge the fans who were cheering for you and have not stopped cheering for you until you come out of the dugout and acknowledge them and either give them a wave or tip the cap.
Right.
All right. So this same a-hole, Javi Baez, who gave the fans a thumbs down, if you boo me when I have success, I'm booing you because I hate your guts. All right? Those suckers in the stands last night at Citi Field are still clinging to hope and giving their money to this organization like a bunch of losers.
Well, I was
clapping.
one of those this weekend. Thank you very much.
No, but it's 9/11 game different.
Spent $600.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 9/11 game totally different. It's a hard. Last night's different. They're Hey, Javi. Oh, I love you so much. Come back out. So he comes out of the dugout. Does he acknowledge the fans? No. He comes out and flexes towards the field and goes back into the dugout without even acknowledging the fans. But these people are drooling in the stand. Home run apple. Give me a break.
Well, I mean,
get on Bumble or something. Turn your
Sunday,
life around, you people. It's just insanity. How are you still rooting for that guy?
Because they're not people. I mean, we've talked about this. They're really just, they're just robots out there. Hit home runs, we'll cheer. You strike out 3 times, we're going to boo.
It's pathetic.
Even
I don't understand it.
On Sunday night when he hits the 3rd home run, his tip of the cap wasn't exactly what you're talking about. He went out there like, look at me.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah.
It was funny.
Guys.
And then last night, I was surprised he didn't get booed last night. You come up, you've got a chance to win the game, and not only do you not drive the run in, you hit into a double play.
Yeah.
And an odd one at that.
Well, I think after his 3-home run game against the Yankees, that it at least quieted people down for a little bit.
But I actually, because of their inability all year, and I think Conforto had a sac fly with a guy in 3rd last night. I wasn't horrible in that category. But with their inability all season long to get a run in from 3rd with less than 2 outs, and I know what he did the other night, I actually thought he would have been booed last night, hitting into a double play. The Cardinals... we talk a lot about managers. Mike Schilt last night is managing his face-off to where he's stopping the game in the middle of an at-bat. He's bringing in a 5th infielder, taking his outfield. Now, that infielder also had to go play the outfield because you sub him in and then botched Pete Alonso's fly ball. Probably should have caught it. Ends up being a double. But at least he's trying to do different things. And I know people have had many issues with Luis Rojas. Like they didn't like the fact that you had Albert Amora hitting last night. Where's Gourmet? They didn't like, Reed pitching in that spot. You got Seth Lugo's not available. But there are different things going on. And you see what Mike Schilt was doing. And maybe they don't like him in St. Louis either. I don't know. But I felt like he was kind of in front of different things last night, at least trying to. And one thing, if you're Mr. Reed, the pitcher, can we not go 2-0 on every hitter? You're not good as it is. You're killing yourself by falling behind every best. Whatever.
Yeah, Luis Rojas is gone. You don't have to worry about that. Sandy Alderson, unfortunately, though, is coming back, and he's going to be part of a hiring process of another person. And if that person isn't Theo Epstein, then I'm sure that they'll be arrested at some point or go down in scandal, because that's who everybody that Sandy Alderson hires, it ends up. Whether it's Tricky Dicky Picky Mickey or Jared Porter or Zach Scott or whoever. Like they'll hire some GM from some other organization, and we'll find out that he's running like a dogfighting ring, like in his spare time. I mean, so bring him back, because his hiring resume is just so spectacular. Let's keep Sandy Alderson. What a great year he has had.
I did notice in one article that I read that Zach Scott could come back.
Yeah, right. That'd be awesome.
I did see that.
That'd be awesome.
So all the people we thought were out, maybe he's not out. Maybe Luis Rojas isn't out. Who knows?
If they come back,
Javier Baez is back.
If they come back next year with
re-signed Conforto,
Baez, Alderson, we know is coming back, Rojas, Alderson. I mean, how could you have any sort of faith? And like the Conforto thing is amazing.
Better players. That's the only way.
It is amazing to me that there are people out there that have watched his season, and now that he's hitting a little bit at the end of the season, are ready to pay him. Do you understand how much money he is going to get, whether he deserves it or not, with Scott Boras as his agent at his age and the potential that's still there? And you're going to give him that massive contract because you like the guy and he's a homegrown guy and he's, I like him too, but he's not going to earn what he's going to make. No, he's not going to deserve it.
And I should have checked this, and I shouldn't do this on the fly, but can't you also give him the qualifying offer? Because I don't think anybody
he can decline that.
You can. If you think that a giant deal is out there, or if you were Scott Boras, you could tell him, listen, take it and take one more run at this thing.
Yeah,
to get the $30 million a year.
That might be the thing that happens, and I'd be okay with that. I'm just not going to get wrapped up in $100+ million contract with Michael Conforto, which he may get from somebody else.
But I do think it's possible he's back on that one-year deal. I do. I think it's possible because he's been so underwhelming this year, and yet we've seen it in spots that perhaps you go out and you got a fresh slate next year and you have the season. I don't know. I mean, it's a weird one because if you're his agent or you're Michael Conforto, and let's say if I would have asked you before this year, what would you have thought Conforto could have gotten?
Before this year, with the year that he had last year.
If I told you he could have gotten 5 years and let's say $100 million, would that have surprised you?
Not at all. I mean,
would it surprise you now?
No, actually.
It wouldn't. See, it would to me.
I really do believe that there is a chance that he could still make right around there. Yeah, maybe a little less. Maybe a little less than $100 million, but right around there.
I was going to say I would think his number's fallen from what we're talking about to maybe, 60 for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's still a handsome paycheck. Don't misunderstand me. But if that's what you're kind of looking like, if you're Scott Boras, and let's just for poops and giggles say that's what you're dealing with a difference of what could be $5 or $6, $7 million a year. Do you say, listen, a lot of security, take it, let's go for it, or go out there and have a 35 home run season and you'll make significantly more money? Because they will.
If I'm Michael Conforto, I take the long-term deal.
That's the question.
That's what I would do after this season. And I understand that he has been hitting a little bit now, but after this season and how bad he can look, I would take the long-term deal and say he may get worse. Honestly,
he could.
He might get worse.
Yeah, could.
Yeah, I am totally dumbfounded by two things. One, the Mets fan who is still so in on these guys. The Mets fan who is giving Javier Baez a curtain call. He still can't even look you in the eye. He still hates you. He got out there and flexed. And the other part of it is how Sandy Alderson, A, wants to come back, and B, is wanted to come back with Steve Cohen after what has gone on this year. I don't understand either one of those things. Now, if you read Theo Epstein's name, and we said it from the second that he left the Cubs because of Steve Cohen, and he could pay him and all of that, it doesn't count against the luxury tax and all of these things, that he could have been an option. And if he is an option, then that's awesome. If they go out and get Theo Epstein, even me, who can't stand this team right now,
flying high.
I would be so happy because you've got the best executive in sports that I have seen in my sports lifetime. He took two franchises who were absolutely cursed, turned them around and won World Series, I mean, you can't do any better than that. I mean, he to me is as good as it gets, and I would be thrilled. But, I mean, if you're just going to go out and pluck another guy from an organization, Sandy's there as the president, you're re-signing Baez, who can't stand the fan base, you're re-signing Conforto, who is a career underachiever, and you're doing this all over again. You put another puppet manager in there. What do you expect is going to happen? It's just going to be the same whirlpool over and over and over and over and over again until it finally goes down the drain.
They need to do one of two things. You either need the star executive that you're talking about that we have discussed before, or you need the star manager. One of two things, because if you just run it back with, blah, 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 some random GM that's had success in Milwaukee that no one's ever heard of. I'm not saying he won't be good. Very well could be. Not going to excite the fan base. And then if you hire that guy and he hires some other bench coach off some other team, not going to excite the fan base. So you got to do something. And then if you do those two things, you better go out and you better turn over the roster. Yes. Significantly turn over the roster.
Who really do you need to have on this team? Outside of Jacob deGrom and I'd say Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso, Lindor is not going anywhere. Right. So those three right off the bat. After that, no one.
Right.
Really no one.
Absolutely.
J.D. Davis, see ya. Jeff McNeil, see ya. You could go down the list. Jonathan Villar's been nice this year. Get out. All of them.
I mean, the bullpen.
Yeah.
Outside of Aaron Luke
bullpen's always turnover for sure.
Right, but I mean, there are some out there that are pretty good, but there's more often than not. You're right.
I like Nimmo. I do.
But you don't have to have them.
No, but I don't think you say, my God, they're not getting rid of Brandon Nimmo. I think Brandon Nimmo is a good on base guy, great energy. If I was gonna run this team, those four is where I'm starting from.
Yeah, I just the false sense of security that there's actually a real base here is insanity. There isn't. They got to really turn the thing upside down, and I don't think that they will.
Well, but they do have the base based on those 3 or 4 players and deGrom. I mean, I don't think they're far off. I really don't. I just think you need someone that knows what they're doing to come in here and fix it.
And if Theo Epstein does end up being the guy, and we talk so much about a manager doing everything that the general manager wants them to do, and analytic-based and puppetry and all of this, which is what Major League Baseball is, don't forget that Theo Epstein did hire Joe Madden, and they won the Super Bowl.
That would
They won
be
the
really
World
cool.
Series. They won the World Series. Imagine if they won the Super Bowl. That's why he's a great executive.
That would be wild.
They won the World Series with that combination.
Yeah.
So he's not afraid to get an old school guy who has a big personality and put him in the dugout if he thinks it's right for that team.
And that would be the home run. You get the big-time executive and the big-time manager, and you really change the perception of this team overnight. You know what's so funny about baseball? I was thinking about this yesterday afternoon because I was sadly looking at the standings. But it is amazing when you think about how the feel of the Mets, because of that 11 out of 13 that they lost, they went from, well, here comes the stretch, and I think, remind me, were they a game and a half up when that stretch started? Something like that. And they were still in first place. If you think about the difference between, I think most 90-win teams are going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think that's a fair assumption. Not all the time, but most of the time. The Mets are going to finish right around 81 wins. 81, if they stay on this track, they'll probably be 81 and 81, very average. It's the difference of 9 stinking games. And then you look at what they've done, and Gary, Keith, and Ron were talking about this in like the 7th inning last night, maybe the 8th inning, where they put up the Mets in 1-run games this year.
Oh, I mean, even the last, 6 out of 7?
They've played 58 and now last night, 59 1-run games, and they're under 500 in 1-run games, whereas the Cardinals have played significantly fewer. I think it's 36, and they won more. It's amazing how close you are. And that's where the manager and the right player at the right time think about all the big moments that Francisco Lindor has had here. Last night's one of them. Guy on third with 1 out. In the 10th inning, the dramatic home run by Baez, either lift a fly ball or just don't do what you did.
You want to talk about things being so close. How about if Javi Baez, if that's not a home run and that is a foot lower hitting on the wall,
it's a double.
No, it's an out or a single because he was
different.
Jogging and flexing and everything else. I mean, he would have been roasted.
I thought you were going to say he would have died at third base.
He either would have been thrown out at second or it would have been a single. with the way that
you're probably right. I mean, we've certainly seen a lot of guys end up with singles off the wall, sadly.
Yeah.
Which should never happen, but it does happen.
And instead, these sheep in the stands with their Mets lobotomies are sitting there cheering for him for a curtain call. God, have some self-respect. Honestly. This guy hates you. He said it.
What are you going to do when he signs for 5 years?
Continue to despise the Mets because that's where I'm at right now. I really can't stand them.
You become a Yankee fan.
No. Absolutely not.
Root for Aaron Judge.
No, I mean, I want the Yankees to do well because it makes it more interesting around here, but I'm not going to ever be a fan of another team. This group is so unlikable, and the fan base has just been so pathetic throughout all of this. It's the biggest turnoff ever. It really is. And especially now, it's unfortunate that Jets and Giants are so bad because I'd really just love to be able to turn the page and just focus on that. And for the most part, I have been with football, and we'll have another game tomorrow. But like this season cannot end soon enough. But what scares me is...
Well, you go right to your Vikings.
Nah, yeah, that's another one. Get me started on that. It's just... What scares me is that I'm afraid it's going to be more of the same next year.
I don't think so. I don't. I really don't. I don't think Steve Cohen will allow it. He did not buy this team for mediocrity. And I know what this year's turned into. I don't believe that'll be the case.
But, Jerry, I think that your take on the Mets is their take on the Mets. That's what scares me. I don't think that my take on the Mets is the Mets' take on the Mets, meaning that my take is that these guys are schlubs. They are unlikable. There's a major problem. Sandy can't hire the next guy. They got to turn this thing over and actually really try. And by the way, let's not forget, too, how they blew the whole first-round pick thing, too, this year. That's another thing that's on their resume. But that's my take on it. What you said before is how close it is. It's a difference in 9 games. Think about this.
Though.
I know, but if Lindor, if this, if that. I mean, I've been a Mets fan for my entire life. It's been a world of ifs. If this, if that, if due to this, if Timo Perez was running, if blah, 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 if they could only get a hit if Glavine didn't spit all over himself, if this, if that, if Brian Jordan didn't go crazy in 2001, if.
But when you don't win, that's all it is ifs.
God.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the Yankees since 2009 have had a lot of ifs for the last 12 years.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, they've
underachieved for who they are. There's no doubt about
100%, it. 100%. Absolutely. Maybe the first ones to tell you that.
And it's not like they're some sort of spectacular organization right now. I mean, they've underachieved. But I just, if they bring back everybody and Theo Epstein isn't the general manager and Sandy hires another one of these guys, I mean, I don't know if I could, I won't be able to be back in on them. I can't.
Better hope the Knicks are good.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things to do as well. That's the thing too that pissed me off so much about, like, more than ever in this day and age. There's so much stuff that can take your attention.
Yeah,
so much stuff, and baseball is this dying, boring game that young people don't like, and the Mets are doing this to the people that are showing up to the ballpark. Not smart. Not smart at all. Because these people still care. And the people that are out there that still actually care about your pathetic organization, you're turning off and saying, I'm booing you, get out of here. I got a million things to do. Honestly, I'm not the only guy out there who's 40 years old with a couple of kids whose daughter's going to preschool and has a social life and whatever. I don't need you. I don't. So you better care about me. You know what I'm saying? If I'm that guy that's showing up to the ballpark, you better care about me. And that's why I'm so annoyed with the fans that are sitting there and clapping. Make them earn it. Like, this blind faith fan stuff is pathetic, especially when you root for a team like the Mets who don't care about you, the players don't care about you, and you're still just forking over your hard-earned money. God. It's just like you got to get your head examined.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.